Campus Comply 360 is a system that is designed to produce a series of alerts based upon events that occur on the site. These actions can be generated by either a loss of an item or an expiry of an item or even just the use of a first aid item. So in this video, we'll be going through how the system manages this with the record keeping. So the first thing we'll have a look at is the lost student medication and lost kit. So this event can be generated by a loss as an item is lost on an excursion or something like that, or it can also be generated from an audit, where an item hasn't been found. So to view the records of what has been done so far, you can click on View Entry, and you can select the student name if there's more than one, and you can see that this particular event, we've already made contact with the parents on the 4th of Feb. We know the person that's done it regarding the medication plan, and so we know that action's been taken so far. Now, if we return to the main menu and have a look at the actual event itself, what you can see is that when we bring that up, we get all the information about the kit, and we also get a status of the items that need to be replaced in order for the action to be closed out. So at a later date, we might receive medication. Now, medication, if there's more than one, could come in at different times. So the system allows for you to add, as items are received, add medication and specifically select, let's say we got the antihistamine first. Or if everything came in at once, you can also deal with it that way. Once we save it, and it's the same with the medical plan as well, which has already been received in this scenario, is once you save the items, you'll be asked to enter the expiry date. And in the case where you're selecting all the items, you'll be asked for the expiry date of every single medication that's listed there. And once the system has received that and all items have been received, it will automatically close out the event and it will come off the dashboard, so you will no longer see it. If we're talking about an expiry plans can be generated automatically by the system, or they can also be generated by the user. So we also have in our dashboard down here actions required in the next 30 days, the number of days can be changed to whatever you like. But once you click on that, it will show you the events that are coming up that are requiring your attention. So this is coming up in about 4 weeks' time. And so that allows you to then, if you want to, create an action that will appear on the dashboard if you're contacting in advance the parents to say that one of the medications is expiring or whatever it may be. So it allows you to be proactive and manage these things rather than get to a point where you have items expired on site. So expiry plans work much the same way in that we can select the student name, select the action type, and once we've received that, we'll again get a request for a new expiry, whatever that expiry is, and the records for that student will be automatically created. Now, one of the other events that can happen with the expiry is that expiries can occur because the students have also left the school. So this, by its nature, allows the system to be cleaned as an item expires. So in this case, if this student was no longer at school, it comes up in the system. We can say, well, we don't want that student in the system any longer, and we can delete the entire action and delete. Now, the other items that do come up is if we lose a general first aid item, that is generally not considered as a significant event as losing a student's medication. Now, the lost items, as soon as that occurs in the system, it's automatically deleted. This alert here is simply to tell make the user or the administrator aware that this has happened. So even though it's telling you remove of lost, all it's really doing is getting rid of the alert. The item has already been deleted. Now, the last type of action that we'll have a look at is a used first aid item. So if we have a used item, there's a number of things that could be required, which could be either refilling an item, you could be checking an item and finding that there's nothing wrong with it and just putting it back in the system, or you could even be refilling an item, or in this case where we have a first aid kit, you will receive some information saying that the item's being used and the user has provided you with some information as to what items have been used. Now, in this case, because some of the information that administrators receive at schools can be inaccurate, this is an example of where we allow the administrator to override what is provided by the user. So, for example, when we say we're going to restock the first aid kit, the person will have to check to see what items were actually used and put the number in. And one of the reasons this is done is this information is recorded and passed to another area of the application, which allows you to see all of the items that have been used over a certain amount of period, a certain period. And if we click on the area here, we can see all of the items that have been used over a certain date period. And obviously, again, we can change the days to see whatever we like. So, for example, if you're across some holidays and you're coming back in the new year and you want to change the days to 90 days instead of 30 so that you can see backwards in time a little bit further, the system allows you to do that, and then the number of items will change. In this case, they didn't, but that's pretty much how the alerts work.